Words mean nothing if actions do not back them up. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nautia Wai. I go by Beauty Rebellion. And if you're not new, welcome back, Rebels. Today's video is going to be a what I wish I knew in my early 20s video. Although I'm only 27 years old and that might seem young to some people, I am a lot wiser and I've grown so much in the last couple years. And I think there's so many things that I've learned that I definitely can share with you guys. Regardless of age, we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always evolving. So hopefully some of these things can help you guys out as much as they're helping me out as I'm reflecting on them. Guys, so coming in at number 1 is take time to be single and appreciate your singleness. I really wish that I knew this in my early 20s, y'all. I went from relationship to relationship. It's not until now that I've been single for over almost 3 years. Not until now that I'm really starting to appreciate getting to know myself without having to answer to anybody else. Dating myself, courting myself, taking myself out on dates. These things might sound boring, but honestly, guys, if you're in your 20s, this is really, really important. Get used to being alone because you're not always going to have somebody. For me, I was in a relationship all throughout high school, right? And then I graduated high school. I probably was only single for a couple months. And then I got into another relationship with somebody else. And then even in my single periods of life, I was still dating. I was still texting people. I was still going out on dates and stuff. Y'all, if you are somebody like this, and you've never really been single, because honestly, I can say up until now, like where I am now at 27 years old, this is the first time that I've ever actually really been single. Like phone dry, not texting nobody, not answering nobody. Like this is the very first time that I've been in that season. And it's been about 3 years now. And I honestly wish that I would have done this earlier. And I'm advising you guys to definitely appreciate this time. Because if you're anything like me, I do desire to one day be a wife. And once you're a wife, you're not going to be able to decorate your apartment or your home the way you want to. You're not going to be able to cook what you want. You're going to have to worry about, what does my husband want? In this time, during this period, focus on you. Focus on, what do you want? Do things that fulfill you without having to answer to anybody else. And I promise, once you're solely focused on yourself, taking care of yourself, doing what you need to do for yourself, God is going to send you the right person, but do not rush that process. Okay, so that moves me into number 2. So number 2, I have on my list, don't rush and live in the moment. You're young. Once you hit 25, 26, you're not considered young anymore. So while you're in your early 20s, live in the moment, enjoy yourself, travel, do what you want to do, because you are not going to get these years back. Yes, you can still do these things once you get older, but make your mistakes and do what you have to do in your 20s. That way you're not in your 30s and you're still chasing a lifestyle that you should have been done with. Also, guys, I'll say don't rush to get your dream car. Don't rush to move out. Don't rush unless you have to, right? Don't rush these things. Don't rush to get into a relationship with the wrong person. Don't rush to have children, right? Do not rush to do these things because you have your whole life. Girl, wait on it. Live your life first. do not rush to be grown. Because once you're older, you're gonna look back and say, I wish that I can go back to life when it was carefree and I didn't have so many responsibilities. So that takes me into number 3. Number 3 on my list is do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. I wish I knew this in my early 20s, y'all. I'm a really emotional person. I don't know if you guys are like me. I can be really emotional. I also know how to shut my emotions off when I have to. But I will say, that man that you're with, that you think is permanent and y'all gonna be together forever and you're in your early 20s, most likely, I mean, it can happen. This might be your person for the rest of your life, but most likely that is not going to be the man that you're with 10 years from now. So do not go get that man's name tatted. Do not go and move across the world to be with that man. Like, there's so many things that we do as women to compromise for men in our early 20s, and we don't even know if this is going to be a end all be all, right? For me, I never got any tattoos. I don't have any tattoos on my body at all. You can always get a tattoo covered up, right? But who wants to keep putting their body through that? I don't know, y'all. I'm not a tattoo type of girly. Like I said, I don't have any tattoos, but I'm just gonna advise y'all, don't get that man's name tattooed on you. Don't do it. Because you never know. Things can be going great right now, and 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, maybe 2 years from now, you guys are not together anymore, and now you have this man's name tattooed on you. Do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Another thing, ladies, do not go have that man's baby just because he said that he loved you. Don't do it. Because at the end of the day, words mean nothing if actions are not there to back it up, right? Y'all, remember that. If y'all don't remember nothing else, remember, words mean nothing if actions do not back them up. So, you know how many times I thought I was in love? I'm 27 now. I've only had 4 real relationships, maybe only 3, because I'm not really counting my high school relationship as a relationship because we were kids for real. But I had 3 serious relationships as an adult. And y'all, if I would have got any of their names tattooed on me, I would be sick right now. If I would have had any of their kids, I would be sick right now. You know, there's so many things that we can do in the moment because we feel like we love somebody, or there's so many things that we can allow just because we think that we love somebody. Y'all, sometimes it's not really love. Like, let's be real. Sometimes it's just in the moment you care about this person, you're getting to know this person, but sometimes it's not love. Watching this and you have not done these things yet and you can prevent them, let me be your big sister, right? Your big sister is talking to you right now. Listen well. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions, because emotions change, just like seasons change, just like you change your underwear. Just like you change your underwear, emotions change, and you can feel this way one day and you can feel the complete opposite the next day. So please, guys, don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Okay, next one. Coming in at number 4, guys, I have on the list, everybody is not your friend. So this is something that I really did want to talk about, because in my early 20s, late teenage years, I think up until I was about 24, I had a lot of people around me. And I can honestly say in those years, I was going out a lot, I was partying, I was in the clubs, I was just meeting girls that seemed cool. Y'all, I had so many friends, like so many people that I thought were my friends. And if it came down to it and I needed them, they wouldn't be there, right? If I can't call on you in a time of need, which I'm not even that type of person, right? I'm not the type of person to call anybody when I'm in a time of need. I figure it out. But I'm just saying hypothetically, if I got into a situation and I needed to call somebody, if I can't call you, you're not my friend. If I have to question you around men that I'm dating, you're not my friend. If I have to look over my shoulder and wonder whether or not I'm going to be safe around you, you're not my friend. So I say all this to say, I wish I knew in my early 20s that everybody wasn't my friend and everybody doesn't have the heart that I have, because I know my heart, right? But these random people that I'm meeting that seem cool, maybe we're drinking, they seem fun to be around, right? These people don't know me and I don't know them. These people don't know me and I don't know them. So just having discernment to know who to bring into my life and who to keep at a distance. I'm not saying that these people were bad people. No, they weren't bad people, but everybody was not my friend. Back then, I was so quick to call everybody my friend. My friend, my friend, my friend. Like, that's my friend just because we go out sometimes, just because we might enjoy the same things or go to the same places, or even just because we knew the same people. I would consider some people my friends, but 5 years later, these people are no longer in my life. And don't get me wrong, y'all. Some people that come into your life are there for a season. Some people are there to help you with something, or you're there to help them with something, right? But just because they enter your life, just because God ushers them into your life, does not mean that they're your friend. Where I am in my life now, I know the difference between a friend and just an acquaintance. And that's okay. Like, it is okay to have acquaintances. It's okay to have people in your life that are just for certain things, but they're not your friends. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that one, guys. Everybody's not your friend. People come into your life for a season and for a purpose. I know people hate hearing this, but I'm one of those people that believe everything happens for a reason. So if somebody was in my life, if somebody crossed my path, if God ushered them into my life, it was definitely for a reason, whether I know what that reason is or not. So I don't question it. I just have better discernment now at my big age. So coming in at number 5, guys, I wanted to talk about trusting your intuition and knowing that rejection is God's protection. A lot of the times, guys, before we do something crazy or something that we're not supposed to do, or before we make a mistake, we hear something in the back of our head telling us not to do it, right? I know I do. And in my early 20s, I would always hear that voice. Don't go there. Don't go to that party. Don't be around those people. Don't get in that relationship. Don't go down the street. All right, guys, quick story. So a few years ago, I had to be about 21, 22 years old. I still had my very first car, right? This was my favorite car. And one of my friends flew in from LA. She came in for Ghana Independence Day, and I was driving her around. I made sure to take her to my nail tech so she can get her nails done. I made sure she was good, took her to her hotel. We had a photo shoot with my photographer. Like, we made sure she was good while she was here. I did her hair, all that stuff, right? And so she invited me out that night to her hosting gig. And initially I was like, no, I'm just gonna go home. I'm so tired. Like, I don't even wanna go. But I let her and the rest of my friends and people tell me, Tia, just come out. You don't even have to stay the whole time. Like, just come out, right? And one thing, if y'all don't know, Africans, it's never a just come out, right? If you come out and you go to a club or something, it's like, okay, after party, like it's the party and then the after party and then the after party. And by the time everything is done, it's not over until like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So I ended up letting them like tell me just come out, and I didn't want to be left out. Again, I was young, I was in my early 20s. So instead of listening to my intuition telling me to go home and go to sleep, get some rest, y'all want to know what I did? I drove all the way home from Philly. At the time I was living in Chester, so that's like a 40-minute drive. I drove home to get dressed, and then I drove all the way back to Philly to go out that night, right? I went out that night. We had a great time. Don't get me wrong. We had a great time. We're partying, everything. I didn't drink because I knew I had to drive home and I was so tired. I was like, if I drink anything, it's not going to be good for me, right? So party's over. Everybody's going back to their hotel. Like everybody from the party, from out of town and everything, they got hotel rooms inside of that hotel. So she's like, come back to the hotel for a little bit, blah, blah. And by this time, I'm tired, but I'm hungry. And I'm like, y'all gonna have Ghana jollof? Like, are y'all gonna have food? And she's like, yeah, come through. We have food. We got everything. Y'all, I ended up going to the hotel. Mind you, I'm still tired, have not slept, been working all day, drove her around everywhere. By the time I left the hotel after getting something to eat, it was like 6:30 in the morning. It was light out by that time, right? And I'm driving home. Everything seems cool. I open the window. Y'all know that trick. Like open the window so the air can blow you, so that it can kind of like keep you up, right? And then I turned the music on. I'm jamming. Y'all, I got 10 minutes away from my house and sleep took over my body. Like sleep took over my body. And I fell asleep at a red light. Actually, I fell asleep a little bit before the red light. So when I fell asleep, the light turned red and I hit 2 cars in front of me and I totaled my car. I say all this to say, if I would have just listened to that angel on my shoulder telling me to go home and go to sleep, if I would have listened to that angel on my shoulder when I got home to change my clothes telling me just stay home or at least take a nap, I would probably still have my car. So that goes to say, trust your intuition, guys. There's so many other stories I can share with you guys that got me in trouble. Like, I'm not even going to get into those. Story for another day. But there's so many different stories that I can share with you guys that got me into so much trouble that could have been prevented had I known, had I just listened to my intuition. Yeah, guys. So yeah, rejection is God's protection. I wanted to add that on to trusting your intuition, because sometimes in your early 20s, like I know at least for me, I felt like if something wasn't going right, if it wasn't going my way, if things were not turning out the way I wanted them to turn out, that I had to try harder, right? I had to try harder. Like, if I get rejected from something, not so much of like a relationship, but just like a job, right? I've always worked for myself, but I do work with brands. So say I reach out to a brand and my mission doesn't align with their mission, or say, For you guys, maybe you apply to a job and you don't get that job, right? Remember that rejection is God's protection. And ultimately, God has something greater in store for you. Like, don't think that because that thing did not fall through, that that's the end all be all, because it's not. Like, at the end of the day, that didn't happen for you because something else is about to happen for you. And I'm saying this from experience. Like, God is never going to let you get into something that is not aligned with your purpose. And even if he does, then he's going to show you why you should not have pursued that in the first place. So it's better to just take that rejection as a sign to try something different, go a different path, go a different way. You know what I mean? Like, do something different, but don't think of that rejection as failure, because it's not. Like, I actually have a friend who applied for a certain job recently and he didn't get it, and he was really upset. He was kind of like beating himself up about it, right? And I had to let him know that job is just not for you. Like, I mean, it sounds harsh, but if the job that he wanted, right? I'm not going to speak too much in detail about it, but the job that he wanted, like, if they didn't pick you after all this stuff that you went through to get the job, like, he literally went through hoops, like jumped through hoops to get this job, and he did not get it, right? And I just feel like if you had to do all that and they still did not approve your application, they still didn't want you, you're not called to be in that place, right? There's something greater. There's a greater calling on your life than just that. For instance, I'm not speaking on him, but that modeling gig or that police job or that firefighter job or, you know, that nursing home job or whatever it is that the rejection came from, right? There's a way bigger calling on your life. Maybe God is calling you to be an entrepreneur. Maybe God is pulling you in a completely different direction that you don't even know yet. And that's when we have to sit down and talk to God and ask him, why didn't this work out for me? And what's the next step? What's the next move? Where do you want me to go from here? Because God is going to give you a sign. He's not just going to reject you from something just to keep you stagnant. But another thing that I always tell people, you cannot ask God for something and not want to put the work in, right? So once you sit down with God, ask him, what is it that I'm called to do? Like, why was I rejected from that? Do the internal work on yourself. Sit down and write down other things that you can see yourself doing, other jobs that you can see yourself doing, other potential partners you can see yourself with. Write down a list, y'all. I got my list. For my dream man, I have a whole list of things that I want to see in my partner. Do that for your job. Do that for your life. Write down your goals. Write down what you want out of life. And I'm telling you, once you write it down, it makes it real. Write it down and give it to God. The rest, it'll work out. So next on the list is be open to other people's opinions, and criticism isn't an attack. Y'all, I'm laughing because in my early 20s, even when I was a teenager, y'all, I was so stubborn. Like, I thought I knew everything. I still think I know everything, y'all. That's the Virgo in me. But I know now in my late 20s that other people's opinions must be valued. Just because I feel like I know everything, I had to become teachable, right? In my early 20s, I can honestly say I wasn't that teachable. You could tell me something, I'd be like, okay, I'm still gonna do it the way I wanna do it. My family will always get upset with me because I would show, like, my mom or my brother, I would show them like 2 outfits and be like, which one should I wear? And they pick this one, and if I already had it in my head that I was gonna wear this one, I'm going to wear this one. Y'all, I don't know why I did that. I would always do stuff like that. Or I would ask like for hair advice or any type of advice. I would always ask people, and then I would do the opposite. Not on purpose though, but now that I'm older, I'm looking back and I'm seeing that that was wrong. Why ask them in the first place if I was just gonna go ahead and do what I wanted to do anyway? So being open to criticism as well. Sometimes, unless people are being straight up rude to you, if somebody tells you something that is to your benefit, if somebody is criticizing you, especially this the one, I'm sorry, this the one. If somebody telling you that your makeup look crazy, listen to them. Y'all, my early 20s, I'll say like from teenage years up until like 21, my makeup used to look crazy sometimes. My hair used to look crazy sometimes. And again, I thought I knew everything. I'm like, y'all don't know nothing. I look good. No. Looking back at my pictures from those years, I looked crazy. And I wish that I would have listened to my mom. I wish that I would have listened to my sister. Even my grandma, like, I wish I would have listened to them when they told me my hair looked crazy. I wish I would have listened to them when they told me my eyebrows was too thick. I wish I would have listened to them when they told me my lashes were too big. Like, I'm laughing now, but that was constructive criticism because they can see from the outside looking in, right? And now that I'm older, I'm more on like a more natural hair. I mean, I still wear wigs, of course, but I don't really do colors like I used to. If you guys could tell, I don't do super long nails anymore. I don't wear like boatloads and crazy eyeshadows and crazy lashes. No offense to anybody that's still on that wave. I still like it here and there, right? I'm not saying that I'll never go back to doing it. I do it here and there, but now that I'm in my late 20s, the closer I get to 30 years old, I kind of just don't want to look like that anymore. Especially when I look back at certain pictures, I'm like, wow, I really did. Y'all, I thought I was fucking it up. Like, I thought I was doing my thing, but when I look back, I really wasn't. And y'all was hyping me up on social media too. I'll never forgive y'all. Like, I will never forgive y'all. Y'all was hyping me up too. Like, y'all was making me feel like my makeup looked good. And in all honesty, when I look back, it really didn't. And I'm not going to say too much on that because that was the times. Like, we were in those times where everybody was kind of doing those type of makeup looks. Everybody was doing those type of crazy hair colors. Like, we were in those times. So I don't give myself too much flack on that. But when it comes to criticism, I'm not even just speaking on looks. It trickles down deeper than just looks, for real. When it comes to criticism, if somebody is telling you that you have a bad attitude and more than one person tells you that, then most likely you have a bad attitude, right? Don't get an even worse attitude and get mad at them and tell them, well, no, I don't have an attitude. Because yes, you do. Like, yes, you do have an attitude problem. In my early 20s, I can honestly say I wasn't the best person, right? I always had a good heart and I always meant well, but it didn't always translate that way because I was kind of selfish. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of self-centered and selfish, and I can look back now because I've done the internal work, the hard work that I had to do. A lot of the stuff that people were telling me, well, I can honestly say a lot of the stuff my mom was telling me that I would get mad at her for saying, she was right about everything. A lot of the stuff she was right about. And when it comes to criticism, guys, even at jobs, even in school, if a teacher is telling you something, you don't know everything. If they're criticizing the work and they're telling you how you can get better, there's a difference between constructive criticism and just being plain old rude. And you have to decipher what it is, right? You have to decide, okay, is this person being rude? Is this person saying this because they're trying to be mean to me? Or are they telling me this to help me? Are they telling me this to benefit me in the long run? So guys, definitely that's just something to think about. And I think that goes for all ages, not just early 20s. I know people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s still can't take constructive criticism. Like, it takes a lot of internal work to know, especially if you've been like this all your life. It takes a lot of work to really change certain things about yourself. But do the internal work. If you have to, go to therapy. Like, go to therapy. I know growing up, not as much now, but growing up, therapy was considered like for crazy people. But now that I'm older and I've gotten into therapy, I know that like, it's not for crazy people. It's for people that want to better themselves. So if you need to go to therapy because you can't take criticism, that is definitely a flaw. And maybe you need to get to the root of why you can't. If you think you know everything, you don't. And you might need to go to therapy and figure out, why can't I take advice from anybody else? Why can't I listen to what anybody else is telling me? Why do I get upset when somebody's trying to tell me something? So yeah, guys, be open to other people's opinions. Be open to other people's suggestions. Be open to learning. Be teachable. Accept constructive criticism. Now, don't let nobody play with you, but be open to constructive criticism. So the next thing I want to talk about is having more grace with your parents. When I was in my early 20s, I would say all throughout my life, my 27 years of life, up until I was about 24 years old, 25, I think 25, that's when I really started to have a lot of grace for both of my parents. If you guys don't know, my mom is Black American, born and raised Chester, PA. My dad is West African Liberian, born and raised in Monrovia, Liberia. He moved to America. My mom and dad, they got married. They had me and my brother. They separated shortly after. I'm not excusing any of their behavior, because by no means was my mom perfect, but she figured it out and she did what she had to do, right? By no means was my father perfect, but he figured it out. The older I get, I'm realizing that that's my parents' first time at life, just like this is my first time at life. Like, they were just trying to figure it out. I'm 27 now. I'm close to 30. By no means am I excusing their behavior, but I am having grace with them, because we have to remember our parents are just figuring it out, right? Some of you guys watching are parents and you're in your 20s. You might be in your early 30s, late 30s, whatever. It don't matter how old you are. If you're watching, you have kids, then you know that you want your children to eventually have grace with you, because you're just figuring it out. You're still young, you're still living life, you're still trying to figure out what to do and how to solve these problems. And as kids, we think that our parents are supposed to have it all figured out. When I was a kid, I thought that my mom was like, I don't know. When I was a kid, I thought adults were just like, oh my God, they're so old. They know everything, right? But the older we get, and now that we're the adults, we know that they don't know nothing. Like, they know some stuff, don't get me wrong, but they don't know as much as we thought they knew. They were still trying to figure it out while raising us. All I'm telling you is, if you're in your early 20s, even if you're a teenager and you're watching this, even if you're in your 20s or 30s and you have like a strainful relationship with your parents, I don't know your situation, so I'm not telling you to go and just like forgive them for everything if they've done some flaw stuff to you, right? But all I'm saying is to have grace with them, because you don't know what they were going through. Sometimes our parents go through stuff that they don't even feel comfortable with talking to us about, right? When I was younger, me and my mom's relationship was so rocky. Like, I was so upset with her all the time. I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I still have all my diaries and my journals from when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. I still have all of them, right? And when I look back at some of the stuff that I said about my mom, I literally I feel kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie, I do feel kind of sad, because like, why was I saying that stuff about her? And why was I that mad? Like, I can laugh about it now, but it's not funny. Like, it's really sad. Why was I that upset with her? And I know I was a kid, I was a child, right? Even in my early 20s, little stuff like my mom telling me I'm 19, 20 years old, coming back from the club at 4 o'clock in the morning. And my mom telling me, Tia, don't come back in the house that late. Like, respect the household, right? And me getting upset with her for saying that. But who the heck did I think I was? Like, I'm 27. I don't have no kids right now, right? But if I do decide to have kids and my kids want to come home at 4 o'clock in the morning at 19 years old, 20 years old, I'm going to dig in that behind too, right? You're not grown. You're still living at home and you're still young, and your parents are just focused on your well-being and your safety. But there's so many times that I got upset with my mom because she didn't want me to do certain things. And now that I look back, I'm like, I thank God that I have the mom that I have. I thank God that my grandmom was so strict when I was growing up. Like, I thank God that my village was the way they were with me, because I wouldn't have turned out like this, right? I have so many people that I grew up with that did not turn out the way I turned out, right? And it's not to say that they're horrible people, because they're not, but everybody has their own struggles. And I just thank God that although I grew up in the hood, right? Although I grew up in a certain neighborhood, my mom sheltered me from certain situations, and my grandma was there and she did everything for us. And I just thank God for the parents that I have. Even though they weren't perfect, they were still trying to figure it out, and I'm having grace with them. So I think you should too. Okay, next guys, I wanted to get into not apologizing for setting standards and boundaries. So guys, it is important as women to have standards. It is important as women to have boundaries. It is important. It is very, very important. And do not let anybody, especially these men, I'm gonna keep it cute, especially these men, do not let them pressure you to bend on your standards. Do not pressure them to change your mind. Don't let them pressure you, to change your mind on certain things, right? If you have a standard for yourself, if you have boundaries, if you tell yourself that this is what I want for myself, don't waver on it. Because it's easy to do that when you meet somebody that you think you love, or it's easy to do that when you meet somebody that you think you like, and oh, I just want to keep this person, or oh, they might not stay around if I don't do whatever, right? No. Set your standards high and keep them there. If you say no is no, no is no. If you don't want to go to that place, don't go to that place. If you don't want to be around those people, don't be around those people. It's just as simple as that. Like, set your standards high as young women especially in your early 20s. I know there's this notion about women having their whole phase and all that stuff. It's not necessary. If you're not that type of woman, don't feel pressured to be that type of woman because you see women being like that on social media. Do not feel pressured to do certain stuff because everybody else is doing it. Be different. Set your standards, set your boundaries, and do not move on them, right? And that moves me smooth into my next topic. My next topic is what you consume becomes your reality. What you consume will shape your reality, right? So what you're seeing on social media, if you're following a bunch of pages of women with bikinis and fake bodies and stuff like that, you're mentally going to get into that mindset that this is what you're supposed to look like. If you're feeding yourself music, I know I talk about this all the time, but if you're feeding yourself music that only talks about men sleeping with women and men killing other black men, killing other black men, or if you're listening to women saying that they're selling their bodies for money, you're going to get into this mindset that, oh, if I go sell, like, this is not everybody, but let's just be real. If you're constantly feeding yourself that type of imagery, eventually it's going to become your reality. Even if it's not like physically your reality, even if you're not just like going out and selling your body, right? If you're a man watching this, even if you're not like going out and shooting people, you're going to eventually be programmed to thinking that that is the way of life. Feed yourself positive things. Listen to music that don't talk about that stuff. Like, let's just be real. Like, I feel like society is pushing this narrative on our communities that this is what black people are. This is our culture, right? That's not our daggone culture. Like, let's be real. That's not our culture. Like, killing each other is not our culture. This is something that they introduced to us in the form of art. They took the art that we already had a hold of and they turned it into something disgusting. So guys, remember to feed yourself mentally with positive things, with positive imagery, with things that are going to uplift you, because at the end of the day, you're wondering why you're having bad dreams. You're wondering why you can't have a healthy relationship. You're wondering why you can't keep money in your pocket. That's because you're feeding yourself this imagery. Think about it. You're seeing everybody with Chanel bags and red bottoms, like the most Dior makeup and all this stuff, and you're not in that place yet. And now every time you get a little bit of money in your pocket, you're going out and buying that. You're seeing these men that like the girls that look this type of way, so you save up all your money to go look like them. Come on. Like, this is what that type of stuff is doing to us, and we have to be smarter than that, y'all. Like, listen to your big sis. Like, listen to your big sis. We have to be smarter than that. Not just the images that you're feeding yourself, but also what you eat. Like, what are you consuming? Like, what are you eating? Are you eating all red meats? Like, are you eating only fast food because fast food is the only thing around you? No. Feed yourself something that's going to give you longevity. The thing that this world does not do is that they don't promote healthy eating. They don't promote us going to the gym. They promote fast fixes, like getting surgeries and stuff. No, get up and go to the gym, because although you can lose that weight with surgery, although you might look good, your internal may not be healthy. Like, it's more about the internal than the external, right? We want to live long and we still want to look good in our 50s. Like, I'm in my late 20s now, and when I go out the house, especially like with no makeup or no wig on, I'll be passing for 19 years old, y'all. Like, I'm trying to be in my late 30s. I'm trying to be in my 40s and still be looking like I'm in my 20s. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we are consuming the right types of foods. Like, I went 8 months without eating any meat. No meat. I did pescatarian for 8 months. It wasn't until last month that I was craving some lamb chops, y'all. I wanted some lamb chops so bad, so I kind of fell, you know. But I do plan on going back to no meat because I just felt healthier. Like, I just felt good. I felt so much, I had so much more energy during that time. Like, I just did not feel sluggish. For some reason, whenever I eat, like, I mean, I love lamb chops. I love oxtail, right? I'm Liberian. Like, I love palm butter soup. Like, I love cassava leaf. I love all these things with the crazy heavy meats in it, right? But after I eat it, my body don't love that. It really don't. Like, it tastes good in the moment, but later on, you wondering why you have the itis. No, you're not supposed to have that. Like, these are things that are normalized in our communities that we have to unprogram ourselves from. Okay, next one, guys. Stop putting so much value on the physical. At the end of the day, it's not about what's on the outside. It's really about what's on the inside. It's really about what's internal. Like, if you're a horrible person but you look good, that can only get you but so far. If you're a horrible person but your hair is slayed, that's only going to get you but so far. If you're a horrible person and your makeup looks good, that's only going to get you but so far. If you're a horrible person but your body is snatched, it's only gonna get you but so far. Like, what's internal, what's on the inside is going to take you so much farther than what's on the outside. And that's a fact. Last but most definitely not least, I wanted to talk about life gets easier. In my early 20s, every little thing that happened, I thought was the end of the world. Every little thing that happened to me, I took it so hard. Every breakup, every friend breakup, every little thing that happened to me, y'all, I took it so hard. And I know y'all can relate to this. If you're in your early 20s and you just went through a breakup, I'm sorry, mama. Like, I'm so sorry, and I feel for you. I know how you feel, but just know life gets easier. If you're in your early 20s and you're going through it with your parents, just know life gets easier. If you're in your early 20s and things just don't feel like if you just feel like it's the end of the world, like you just feel like things cannot get any better than this. Like, what is going on? Like, I feel like I've come to the end of the road. If you feel like you've come to the end of the road, know that it's not the end of the road. Like, it's not the end of the road. Like, things do get better. Work hard, work on yourself, get yourself together, do what you have to do, and things are going to get easier. And one thing I pray for everybody that's watching this to get in your word, open your Bible, like, get closer to God, because I would not have been this self-aware had it not been for me strengthening my relationship with God. Let me know down below if you guys would be interested in learning more about that journey. All right, guys, so that brings us to the end of this video. What I wish I knew in my early 20s. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is only my second time doing a video like this, a sit down chit chat video. Let me know in the comments if you like this video, if you like videos like this. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Leave me some feedback down below in my comment section. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. Smooches.